Welcome to Spoofers, the podcast where we talk about random things.
Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to another episode of Spoofers Lounge. And I want to send a thank you message out to everyone that has been listening so far, and very much for all the support and all the insight everyone has been giving me. It has been a fun experiment, needless to say, in this podcast world. And like I say, I'm learning a lot, and this has been a blast. But this isn't always about me. If there's anything that you guys want to see, any content, you feel someone that needs to come up on the show, I'm very easy to get a hold of. I got a Spoofers Lounge podcast on Facebook. It is also now on YouTube. And if you want to make it even easier, you can even comment on the Spotify episodes. But we're going to change gears slightly compared to what we've had here lately on the show. And I have someone who has seriously put in a lot of work into creating this town of Waxahachie to what it is now. And I can say that it's an honor. And I even feel privileged for this gentleman to take time out of his busy schedule to sit down and talk for a while. And I'd like to welcome this guy to the show, Councilman Travis Smith. Travis, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's fun to be here. You're too kind with those words too. I'm just one person that's helped kind of guide the ship. At times those waters get pretty wavy, but man, it is an honor to be here, and I just love to talk about the city.
Man, it's cool. I mean, well, so we had a small hiccup a couple of weeks ago, to say the least, and it just kind of, I guess you could say, shit happens.
Yes. We were an hour and 20 minutes in and lost the internet. Has lost the entire show. So I'm just hoping that I don't sound too rehearsed now that we've already tried this one.
Okay, I mean, think of it like a trial run. You got like a rough draft and then you get the final draft. Yeah. But that'd be all right. But just kind of going back, even like how we talked. And these people obviously don't know that we talked about some of this stuff before. But man, whenever I see someone that gets elected, or and it has to be, well, it's kind of like a surreal feeling, I guess you could say, to get elected by your fellow Waxahachieans.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's for me, it was emotional. I mean, being born and raised here, having a mother and a grandfather and uncles, and aunts that have all had small businesses here. I mean, it was, and then to find out that, as far as I have found and been told, to be the youngest ever elected in the history of the city at 31, and it was emotional, but it was emotional because of all of the work and the trust that my family put in.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not just a one-man show. It takes a lot of work. And even though you're just, say you're just like, oh, it's just the city of Waxahachie that you're doing, but it's a big city. There's a lot of people in it.
It is. And elections are tough, man. I mean, they are. If you do it right. Now, if you just put your name in a hat and throw out a few signs, okay, well, there's not much to that. But if you do it the right way, and your goal is to engage the residents and engage as many as you can in their comfort zones. So I'm not trying to hold some kind of speaking thing at a place where you're comfortable with, but when you take it to them, and then to have the family involved in all of that, from planning to execution to door knocking to handing out flyers and calling friends and phone banking. I mean, we will have several planning meetings and updates where we'll just sit over dinner, but sit as a family and go through, all right, who is called who is not called who. So to go through that whole process for better part of 3 months, and then to get the results, and
almost like it's surreal to be like, hey, it worked.
It is, because you don't know. I mean, there are no updates along the line. There's no exit polling. It either worked or it didn't.
Yeah,
you're gonna find out at 7:00 on election night.
Yeah, you're sitting there, you're just hoping like, man, did we just waste all of our time, or is this going to work? But you have to believe in, hey, this is what I'm doing is right. And
Yeah.
and I think that to be elected, like just to be you like walking around, just like this, like, hey, we have the studio here at Railport, and just to be like, hey, we're walking through here, and like, hey, these guys voted for me, even if that person directly vote for you, but you have a cumulative whole, you're like, the people chose me to represent them at city council.
Yeah, that's kind of a catch-22 because you could easily see that as, well, I'm better than all of them now because, I had 2,000 folks that
Oh yeah,
voted for me, or 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever it was. But they didn't vote for you out of popularity. Uh, they hired you to do a job for them.
yes,
So you still work for the residents and you work for the city. So if you just kind of step back and humbly remind yourself of that every day, that I am a hired gun to be their voice in behind a dais, um, and to ensure that we're moving in the direction that the residents want us to. Um, that's the approach that is that's necessary to keep yourselves kind of grounded, right?
oh yeah, no, for sure, yeah, I was just kind of getting like, hey, they voted, like all my work paid off, and these guys wanted me to do the work for them, yeah, because when you're representative, you're representing the people that you're chosen to. It isn't like, hey, I'm going to bestow what I want onto you. It's you have to
Right.
represent,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's walking through a place like Railport and knowing that folks here know that I was elected. I mean, I had my campaign launch here, and I have all 3 years, or all 3 times it's been here. Um, and that's because it's a small business that I believe in, um, and it's to see what Shannon and Richard went through to open these doors, and the red tape that they got put in front of them by not just the Waxahachie Council, but by Midlothian, because they tried to start there first.
yes, yeah, he talked about that on a previous cast here, yeah.
So by me being able to have my campaign launches here, uh, is my kind of sort of small way to give back to ensure that somebody shows up that day, on a day when they're not usually open, as
Right.
buy a couple beers or merch or whatever it is, but just to show the appreciation that I have for them and their efforts. And again, to go back to, like, you got to humble yourself, um, to realize that it's the Richards and Shannons that's why you run, and that's why those feelings that you get on election day of between the nerves, and then finally when you do see the results that you have been hired, um, that that turns emotional, and you walk through a place like this and the same thing happens. It's honestly, it's nerve-wracking to walk through because I don't know who I've pissed off that day or that week.
For sure.
I mean, you just never know if you made a decision or a vote that affected somebody in a negative way. So they might have been your best friend last week, but if you voted against them and now they just,
Oh, now you're their enemy.
yeah. So it's not as, I don't ever walk into a place real excited when there's a whole bunch of people because I don't know what I'm walking.
Oh yeah, I could, yeah, because you got a target on your back,
Yeah, I mean,
good and bad.
you could think that you're do that. You could trick yourself into thinking that you've made every right decision and that you voted in the way that's best for everybody. But that's just not the case, man. I mean, there are times when it'll come out of nowhere. You'll be smacked by somebody that you've known your entire life, and then all of a sudden they hate your guts. Now, what in the heck did I do?
I could definitely see that, especially if you're, gosh, so you got your, your new, say if you're doing a city council meeting and you're voting on, oh gosh, like the, oh gosh, was the mobile unit that for the police department that I believe we were talking about,
Yeah, the
and
Mobile Emergency Command Center.
yes, and if it got voted down, well, heck, your good buddy could be part of the bid that he's wanting to do that he's going to get paid for, and you're just looking out for the betterment of the entire city.
Yeah,
As is this needed? But you got some guy that has ties into it, and he's going to be upset about it because he's not going to get that bid now.
exactly. And being in a community that's just now over 50,000, and that's, I mean, I think our last kind of estimate is that Waxahachie is now at 51,000 ish residents inside the city limits. When you include those in like the ETJ or that have a Waxahachie address, we're closer to 70.
Okay.
But that's still pretty small. And there's still a lot of third and fourth and fifth and sixth generation folks here.
Yeah.
That have deep ties to land or to property or to business dealings. So there's a lot of decisions that are made that, I mean, it might be that you just voted against awarding a contract to somebody that was going to be the biggest payday for their third cousin twice removed, and now they're upset because their friend Travis is the one that did it, and they're going to let me know about it.
Right. Whereas you're getting, 80 pats on the back, where 20, they're not so much pats on the back. They're, hey man, I need to talk to you in the corner for a second.
Well, so the one thing that I learned first at the newspaper, as an editor at various newspapers, and then further in the political realm, and even in sports, is that the silent majority is silent for a reason, because they're happy with what's being done. You don't hear much from the people that are pleased with efforts.
Okay, I would say that, yes.
But that vocal minority, they are loud, and they don't care how loud they are or how rude they are or how hateful they are.
They feel they have to get out in front of everybody.
Exactly. And they're persistent. I mean, I'll give them that. There are some folks that I mean, they need some Jesus.
Yes.
They that vocal minority, those folks can get crossways in a hurry, and that's the part of the job that's not so much fun, because
I could definitely see
can't
that.
reason with them 9 times out of 10.
No, and even you get someone that's just already that irate, there's no talking somebody down.
No,
You just,
not.
no matter what you do. And it's not even just like, even if it is just like a group of protesters or whatever, hey, Travis Smith did this, yada, yada, and they got their pitchforks outside. You're not going to talk somebody down that way. You have to let for the situation to disperse, then you can try and reason with them. That's almost like with anyone, like they come in and they're upset for whatever reason, and they're truly that irate, you're not calming them. Dude, it ain't just from my experience.
Yeah, no, and it's, I mean, social media plays a part, put a large part in that now as well. I mean, you can, once something is on Facebook or on the Waxahachie Buzz or Talk or whatever it is, and shout out to the Buzzards, that is a fun group, sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, they're they're Waxahachieans.
But once somebody puts something on Facebook and it's read by a couple hundred folks, well, now it's become church. Somebody has heard it, now they read it somewhere, they're telling somebody else, they're telling their aunt, they're telling their whoever it is. But I mean, now it's spreading as, well, that's the gospel because I read it somewhere. They don't remember where they read it. They read it on a talk page, and there was no research done. It was
Straight up someone typing in something, and
they thought they heard from somebody who heard from somebody who saw something somewhere, and then, oh, yep, that's what's gonna happen. And sometimes we haven't even, as a council, I mean, like, if it's a new project or a new business, there's a 2-month or more process for them to go through to even get to being on our agenda. So just
go through all their permits and everything before it even gets to y'all's.
Not even permits. I mean, I'm talking just platting and planning, and zoning. So there's a long process. I'll use Sam's Club. So there's a proposed Sam's Club, on 77 at that Dart Way. So kind of by North Grove, out. It's right by the BJ's Wholesale that is under construction now. And
Because the BJ's has already been set up and approved, and they're okay.
So a few months ago, or I guess a month ago or so, I was tagged in a Facebook post on a Friday morning with 60 comments about a Sam's Club that had already been approved and was coming and blah, blah. And I saw it and I screenshotted it. I sent it to Mayor Wallace and I said, hey, have you heard about this? And she replied back, first I'm seeing of it. So even the mayor hadn't seen that Sam's Club was even going through the processes, and they weren't even on our calendar yet.
But it's already on social media that they're already that's him. It was already over.
It was already done a deal that the city had recruited and paid for and started the construction on Sam's Club, and we hadn't even heard it yet.
And now our tax dollars are going up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's things like that sometimes I find out things on social media that, I mean, they're still weeks or a month or more away from even coming to us. But again, once it's on social and that vocal minority gets a hold of it and they don't want the Sam's Club because it's going to drive the traffic and X, Y, and Z. And I get it because those are all valid concerns. I mean, the safety of drivers on 77, the congestion, those are all valid. But sometimes you just got to give us a chance to have a chance.
Yes. Trust in the process.
Exactly. And and I think a lot of that goes back, and I do use the word ignorant a lot, but I don't see that as a negative. I think if you're ignorant in a topic, or if you're, you just truly don't know something, right?
Sure.
Ignorance is not a negative word. Now, some folks think it is, but if you're ignorant, you just don't know.
No, for sure. Like, I don't know hardly anything about city politics. I do not know. The only thing I know about politics is whenever I turn on the TV when it's election time or whatever. That's when I get my politics. I took some politics classes when I went to UNT, but I have slept since then, and I understand, the electoral college, stuff like that. Obviously, that doesn't partake to city council or nothing, but it's just I am ignorant when it comes to politics, especially at the local level.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's admitting the ignorance is the first step. I mean, kind of like saying, like, I mean, it's like the first step to quitting. It is the first step of quitting the ignorance, is that you've humbled yourself enough to say, all right, well, let's learn.
Correct.
And I mean, go get elected and see how often you find yourself ignorant on a topic, because it is a lot.
Oh, I can only imagine, especially if you guys, you had a city council meeting and you got wastewaters proposing that they need all this stuff, and you're going, oh, wow, our water is terrible. We need to do this. And you're going, hang on, we just got some, hang on, I got research on this now. We can't just vote on this $10 million facility or whatever,
Well, if you're waiting to get your information until you get to the meeting itself, you've already failed your constituents and yourself.
I can see that.
There are, by the time that I get to the meeting, if there's a topic that has any potential for something controversial, I have talked to as many people that could be affected or that that are smarter on that subject than I am as I possibly can.
Okay.
And that's because you want to go into that meeting with information as much as you can get, and you want to be informed so that if you have the opportunity to ask questions, that you ask good questions. And you ask deep questions, not just surface level stuff, but you ask good, deep questions.
To actually know what is really going on.
Right. But the one thing you do not do, and this is advice that I got from former Mayor Kevin Strength, is that you do not go into a meeting with your mind made up on any topic.
Okay.
At all, ever. Do not walk into a meeting and think, I am voting for that, or I'm voting against that. Do not do that. You cannot do that. That is a disservice to everybody.
Okay.
There have been several times when I've gone into a meeting and thought, I'm probably going to vote against this, or I'm probably going to vote for this. And it takes one person to stand up, and usually it's somebody from the community that will stand up and ask a question that you have not thought of.
Okay.
It's that one little seed that goes, I didn't think about that. Maybe we should dig deeper into this. Maybe we should table the item and discuss it in 2 weeks. Maybe I do need to ask staff right here, right now, and say, hey, answer the question. I mean, that's a good one. And if that gives you an unfavorable answer, well, maybe might need to vote against it.
Yeah. That's a very good way to. I believe that's actually a great way to look at it. Go in like as a, hey, okay, this is my research that I've done, but it's open to the floor. So I would say, so when you guys have your city council meetings, the public is welcome to join in. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's always a there's always an opportunity for public comment at the beginning of a meeting. If there's a topic on the agenda, that's not the best time to speak on that topic, because during public comment, we can't respond back to you. We can't answer a question. That's a state law. That's just your time as the public to voice whatever it is that you want to on any topic in the entire world. You can
Okay.
walk in there and talk about wanting to save the killer whales and the need for it. It has nothing to do with Waxahachie. We ain't got a killer whale nowhere near us. Never will. Never have. But if that's what you want to talk about, by George, come in and you can just have your 3 minutes to talk about it.
Okay.
Um,
I did not know that. Okay, that is news to me. Okay.
And then on most items, there is a public hearing, especially when it's involving zoning or a special use permit. And then there's a public hearing before we even get to the agenda item. So that's your time again as a public to speak. And then even when there's not a public hearing, Mayor Wallace is pretty good about allowing folks from the community to speak, as long as you're respectful when we get to any topic.
Okay.
So yeah, we want to hear from the community. I mean, that's again, we were hired by them to serve. So
Sure. Yeah. So like, okay, just for instance, okay, say the city is wanting to, or we'll say the Parks and Rec department, they're wanting to put in a new splash pad. Okay. And so would that be something like, okay, will city council get together and then I guess y'all would discuss it, and then it would then be open to the floor for any from public to have any kind of comment on it.
okay, so that's actually a, kind of a good route to go. So if it's something, say, with parks, and they want to add something to an existing park or build a new park, those conversations and discussions actually start with our park board.
Oh, okay. So there's a whole, all right.
There are, I think we just added a cultural arts board. So I think we're up to 17 boards and commissions in the city. So the council members appoint the members to those boards,
Okay.
all volunteers, and they meet usually once a month, and it's hyper focused. So we have a parks board and a cemetery board and a downtown. I mean, there's several different boards, and that's what they focus on.
Okay.
So the parks board would go through the processes of, all right, well, we want it to look like this, or we want it to look like this, and it's going to cost this. Well, let's add in X, Y, and Z. And then they make the recommendation to council on, we think this park needs this splash pad for $500,000. So then that presentation, after they've done the legwork on the backside, then we consider what they've presented to us.
Okay.
But rarely does the council sit down and plan those types of things out.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood then. Okay.
You know, we mostly take action on finished items, right? So there's not a whole lot that the city council gets too far into the weeds on, unless that's a passion project for you.
Understood.
So
Okay.
Mayor Wallace and Councilman Pat Suter, their passion project right now is they are going to find an animal shelter come hell or high water. They are going to figure it out. Now, I still talk to the residents and I take the feedback and then I give it to them and say, all right, well, here's ideas that I've gotten, but that's where y'all's hearts are at. So here you go.
No, I understand it. And everyone has a huge heart for animals.
Yes.
And I can definitely see where logic and heart can be very conflicting
For sure.
when it comes to that.
But because that's their passion project, that's what they're working on with our Animal Care Advisory Board. So they're working hand in hand with that board to figure out the solution. Sure, I'm not too involved in that, but that doesn't mean that I don't care. It's just that that's to avoid any sort of violation of the Open Meetings Act, which is a state law. You can't have a quorum. So we have 5 members on the council. So if there's 3 of us that are all discussing something, that's a walking quorum. Okay. So those 2 have more passion for that than I do. Not that I don't, but they're more passionate.
It's their baby.
So that is their baby, right? We need to find more green spaces for practice fields. We need more outdoor spaces for families. That's kind of where we need to go.
Okay.
I want a multi-use sports facility that can have 16 volleyball courts, 12 basketball courts, be converted for uses along those lines, that will also generate hotel stays, that will have folks from outside of the city coming in to spend money at the restaurants and the hotels and boutiques in downtown. Like, that's what I want.
Sure. Yeah. That's you're a sports guy. That's that's your baby.
Yeah. Though that's where I spend my efforts, and it's those things that the folks might not ever see. I mean, if the multi-use facility never comes to fruition, I mean, I've been spending hours a week, probably 10 to 12 for the past 6 months, just taking phone calls or meetings to try to work through those.
Try and make it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
There are things with the school district that we met with the previous superintendent and staff, and now they've had massive turnover. For us to, as a city, to lease their green spaces. So
Okay.
the city can pay for like turf or lights or irrigation or new backstops or whatever it is to utilize land that they already have that has parking and has the infrastructure in place to save cost. The school district doesn't have the extra money to do those things for recreation purposes.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm 8 months into those talks and trying to get that stuff through. That as your role on the city council, when that comes to a vote someday, hopefully, for us to approve that contract, there might not be any discussion at all during the council meeting because we've done our homework beforehand, but that could be the culmination of a year's worth of work outside of the meeting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
And that's kind of what the city council does. If you think we're only working at the meeting, vote us out. Because if that's all that your council is doing is that they show up and vote, they are failing you in a bad, bad, bad way.
Show up with the briefcase with their suit and tie on, and that's it after they leave, right?
That is the meeting is game day. But you got to practice.
Right. Gotta get your head right before you get in it. Absolutely. I can see it because if you don't, yeah, you're gonna get we put up a L that day if you don't come up prepared for sure. Because someone in that stand or not in the stands, but someone in the audience is going to be ready to show you what's what.
No doubt.
Because they've done their research. They're liable to do 40 hours worth of research and show up, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah.
Exactly.
But okay, man. So all right. So youngest city councilman here in Waxahachie. You got elected in 2021, and you beat the 27-year incumbent Chuck Beatty in a runoff. And from what I understand is that a runoff, first off, it's going to be because it was a super close race, is what I'm going is. And the runoff is because since there was a third person, there was not a 51% rule. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the runoff occurs, and not every municipality or school district still sticks to this. But you get the runoff when there's 3 or more, and nobody gets that majority vote. So that 51% vote, which none of us got. So I actually finished second in the first election.
Okay.
I mean, it was still close. It was a couple hundred votes between Chuck and I. And I mean, just full transparency, I spoke with Chuck several times leading up to the election. I called him the night after the first election and after the runoff. I still talk to him now and his son, Chuck Jr., a lot. But I told Chuck up front, like, hey, I know you're tired. Like, you've told folks that you're tired. And that these 27 years have worn on you. And then you throw in the NFL career and I think it was called the World Football League that he played in San Antonio. I mean, like, you factor all of that stuff in there, and Chuck's tired.
No, absolutely.
Well, he had a guy that was already filed to run against him, that, in my opinion, was very radical. Now, right or left, I couldn't really ever tell which way he was, but I knew he was radical of some kind.
Sure.
It's kind of all over the board.
Right. The silent majority guy.
Yeah, and no, the
I'm sorry, the
vocal
vocal minority. Yes, I got sidetracked. Yeah, vocal minority.
And that scared me. I mean, I didn't want someone like that representing our community, my hometown. I mean, it scared me because I think what is almost always missing from public office is common sense.
I'll definitely agree with that.
It is incredible how many times I've used, can we not just have some common sense when we're discussing this or when we're looking at this pertaining to things that the city is doing? But I told Chuck, like, look, like, he scares me. He's using social media, good or bad, I don't know, but he's using it a lot. He's saying that he's going to be very active. And I don't think you have the energy to do it. So I'm going to run.
Okay.
And I just filed to run because the conversation came after the filing deadline, because I filed that first time at like 4:54 and the cutoff was 5 p.m. on that Friday.
Just made the cutoff.
Just made the cutoff.
Didn't procrastinate at all.
Well, I've been praying on it and asking like the family about it, and nobody in my family has ever ran for anything. So
Sure.
I didn't really know what we were getting into. It was a big decision, but finally felt the God nudge and filed it, called Chuck. And so we get through the first election. I called Chuck and just said, like, hey, like, whatever happens, we know we got sanity, we'll win.
Okay, so yeah.
Me and you.
Right, yeah.
But I'm not going to not work. I'm going to knock on doors. My family's going to knock on doors. We're going to try to win this now that we're in it. The goal was to be in the top 2 with the first election, and now the goal that I'm in the top 2 is,
now you're in it.
yeah, now the goal is to win.
Yeah, it's game on now.
So my family knocked on 4,000 doors or so. I personally knocked on 3,000 myself, blew through 2 pairs of Nikes. And when I would go to those doors, it was not me trying to sell myself. It was a very quick, all right, I want to run because we need some common sense. We need to invest in our downtown, and we need to ensure that we're growing responsibly. Now, how do you think we get there? And the number of times that I got a shocked look from somebody that this guy is knocking on my door to run for office and he's asking me my opinion.
That right?
It was kind of shocking to me. I mean, that they weren't expecting that. It was also shocking to me the number of times I knocked in like the North Grove, Garden Valley side of town, and they thought our downtown was Lowe's and Home Depot because they had not been past the HEB yet. So that was a little disheartening.
But there's a big divide right there. Yeah,
There is.
The 287 split, you know?
Yeah. So we do all that, and that's just kind of it was a blind leap of faith. We didn't know what we were getting into. I don't think we win that first one without the efforts of my fiance. Mary Crook and the efforts that she did to kind of plan events and to plan like the ice cream socials in the neighborhoods of North Grove and Garden Valley, where we would just knock on the doors and say, "Hey, free ice cream from 1 to 3. Come meet your candidate and tell him all the good and bad." We didn't try and sell anything to anybody. It was, we're in your neighborhood at your park with free ice cream. Your kids can go play on the playground. Come let your voice be heard.
Yeah.
It was, that to me was a real kind of like breath of fresh air for folks that, hey, somebody cares enough to come here and see us. And they're not just up there in the city hall.
Yeah, like, hey, if you came to my door and you knocked on, you said, "Hey, I got free ice cream. I just want to hear what you got to say." I'm gonna be there, brother. Like, I'm not gonna argue that at all. Like, I'll be right there. And if I got my nieces, they're coming too because they want ice cream as well.
Yep. It was fun. I mean, it was fun. It was nerve wracking. The worst time is kind of get like, it's about 6:30 on election day on that Saturday, and it's time to leave the polls. You've done all the work that you can do. You have to go to where you're going to watch the results come in at, which was my sister's house with like the whole family there. It wasn't an open party type of thing. It was very,
Okay.
very close, just family, just close friends. But that from 6:30 when I left and you get in the truck, and honestly, I cried, just sat in the truck and just cried for like 5 straight minutes because it was like, all right, I've put in, we have put in every ounce of effort that we can.
Yeah, and you're uncertain. You're like, man, is this enough?
I mean, it was,
Yeah.
did we knock on enough doors? Did we send enough texts? Did we make enough calls? Did we? And that's when it first hits you, and it's a, you kind of take that breath of like the exhale of, all right, and then that emotion hits you. So then when you get through with that little anxiety attack
Uh,
at 6:30, and then you get there and you quick shower change, and then the number of times that we refreshed the Ellis County elections page screen to see if the results were in from early voting, because in an election in smaller towns, typically whatever the results are from early voting, those percentages will carry through.
okay.
So if it's 60-40 from early voting, it's probably going to be pretty close to that on election day also.
Okay, that's okay. Because I guess on a smaller town, your early voting is going to be, I guess, more of your real passionate voters, and
Well,
they already have their mind made up of who they're voting for. And
hit or miss. It's just that for some reason that just tends to always play out. Now if if a candidate works real hard between like the early voting time and then those 4 or 5 days between when that stops and election day, they could pick up a percentage point or two, but it's typically going to be the exact same. I mean, like, for instance, I'm in election day voter.
okay,
So, but I know who I'm going to vote for well before then.
sure.
I just like the idea of voting on election day.
Okay.
Like that makes me feel more American to vote on election day as opposed to going early.
I'm right there with you. I don't early vote either. I'm right there on election day.
But you already know who you're going to vote for.
Yes, 99%. I'm pretty sure I already know who I'm going to vote for.
So that kind of carries through like the theory of whatever the percentage is, then it'll be close after. And that percentage came out, and I think the first from early voting at like, it took a long time too for some reason, but it was like 7:30, 7:40. They finally posted the early voting results, and it was, I want to say it was like, I was at like 54%.
Oh, so it's still a close race.
It's close, but that's, again, it typically carries through, and you've got to be somebody that's working your tail off
Sure.
to make up that ground between, because I mean, there's just, it ends on Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so you've got 4 days between when early voting ends to election day. You've got to flip a lot of people
That is
in that short amount of time.
yeah. You do Yeah, if you're gonna flip that many votes, you're doing some work.
I mean, that first
Right.
election day, the polls got slow at Marvin, so I just said, "Screw it, I'm going," and I started walking down Marvin,
Oh, wow.
or down Brown, sorry, down Brown, and I was knocking on doors saying, "Hey, have you voted yet? No? Okay, well, I'm Travis Smith. Here's my info, and the polling place is right there across the street. I will help you walk across the street. Just go vote." They're right there.
Yeah.
And I got 8 votes that day from just knocking on doors and saying I'm assuming I did. They literally left the front door to go vote.
That's pretty cool if you think about it, though.
I mean, it was they're right there. Like, it might be the 8 votes I need.
That's right.
Yeah. But it was like 54%. I think I ended up with 56% or 57. I think for some reason it's 56.1 is what's in my head. But when that first early voting number came out, all of that anxiety that had been just building and building and building,
Just went away.
it came out, but it came out in emotion.
Oh, well, absolutely.
And it was humbling in the sense of, holy crap, these people really trust I can do this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It was, I'm a crier. I don't care, but I cried. I cried. And then hugged somebody and cried, and hugged somebody else and cried.
That's real cool. And plus, like, I just did a quick, search on Google, and almost 75% of incumbents in any kind of office get reelected.
They do.
And then, Walter Beatty, Chuck Beatty, I'm sorry, I got the Chuck Beatty. He, that's a big name.
Yes.
I mean, NFL career, all this. He's a city councilor for 27 years.
His best man in his wedding was Mean Joe Green.
Yeah. Hey, UNT, baby,
They both went to UNT. When I was at the Daily Light in 2018, we started, or 2019, we started I started, then the conglomerate that owned the paper kind of hijacked it, but the Ellis County High School Sports Awards. And in 2019, 2 years before I even thought about running, I named an award the Chuck Beatty Courage Award.
That's cool.
Because I was just so impressed and just so in awe of all that he went through to get to where he was in life. I mean, he was a mayor for 6 years, on the council for 27 years, played professionally. He uses the moniker that I love of one Waxahachie. And that's coming from a guy who was raised during segregation. I mean,
Different time.
he went to the all-black high school in town. And for him to still want to come back and serve all of Waxahachie and pour as much as he did into it, it just felt right that we name the Courage Award after him. And then here it is 2 years later, and
Well, heck yeah, they didn't run against him.
to run against him. And but I was always upfront with him that it wasn't that me running against him was not that I didn't think he had done things wrong. It was to continue the work that he had done and that others had done to continue growing Waxahachie to keep it special.
That's cool. That's also a level of respect that you do not see in politicians at all. Like, yeah, you go and that's like going like on the national level. The only thing you hear about when you see election time is how bad politician X, Y, or Z sucks, and I'm the best thing there ever was.
That is the worst. I can't stand it.
I can't do the mudslinging. I'm not a fan of that at all.
As soon as a politician they stop talking about what they can provide or what they can do or what they can bring, and they just turn to just railing on the opponent, how bad they are, how bad they stink, or their wife has bad hair, or whatever it is. It's just like, dude,
I'm not.
you've lost it. Like,
Yes.
you have lost the entire purpose of serving, because being elected to anything, if you're being hired to serve, whoever it is that is electing you you are being hired to serve them. If once you lose that servant attitude, it's time to go.
I agree 100%. I yeah, I can agree with you more on that one.
Trust me, it gets hard. There are hard days when it is so hard. You just want to just throw in the towel, cry, burn something down, break something. Um, it's tough, man, and it'll be. You have to remind yourself when you're in a public office that when somebody comes to you, and this is something that I also learned from Kevin Strang. When somebody comes to you and says, I'm sick of waking up every day and seeing trash cans on my street. People are not putting their trash, and this is a real complaint that I got one time.
Okay.
People are not putting their trash cans up after they're emptied, and they sit there for weeks or for days, or they never take them up. And I'm tired of leaving my driveway and seeing trash cans on the street every day. It ruins my day.
Okay.
And you sit there and go, the hell do I care about trash can? What are you talking? What are we talking about right now? Like, I'm worried about a $90 million budget, and you want me to talk to you about trash cans? Like, we're called over here to talk about trash cans.
But that person, that was their sole passion that day, is their trash can.
That's what you have to remind yourself, is that person had enough of those trash cans being on their street and ruining their morning. And when they come home, they're still there. And they got trash cans everywhere that to them, they had it up to here and then some, that was now their biggest issue in life. So just think about that's their issue. That's their passion project at that time.
Yeah.
How many times are they sitting there at dinner and they're stewing over it, or they're cussing at their husband or their wife saying, those dang trash cans out front, sick of seeing them. So now the spouse is in a bad mood, and the kids hear like the parrot complaining about the trash cans. And now the kid's like, oh, well, mom and dad are fighting again. Talking to damn trash cans.
Over these trash cans.
But that's the biggest issue for them. And you gotta remind yourself, like, look, like they took the initiative because they had enough of it to tell you about their problem. So by God, find a solution for the dang trash cans. Because that took guts, it took fortitude, it took initiative for them to bring that to you, for them to ask you for help.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, like, yeah, obviously it made them mad enough, but they took their time to drive to a city council, and go to a city council meeting for you to hear about their trash can issue. And yeah, and then you got to think about it. You got to go and you sit and you talk in front of everybody. So not only is
Public speaking is a real fear.
yeah, people are scared of public speaking.
I had a stutter, so it's a real tough thing for me.
Oh, I'll start stuttering. I'm sure people have heard it, or it sounds like I've, hit like a two-step or something. But yeah, I'll do that because my mind races so fast that my mind just can't even.
In fact, I had a stutter just like 3 minutes ago. I was stuck because somebody was knocking on the window.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking about who was knocking on the window and what they were asking for.
Oh,
But I was still talking, and my mind just forgot what I was trying to say. But yeah, I mean, you're right. So for them to come up there and complain about the trash cans, and then I went and I took on a name and the address, which that's why we ask you for your name and address before you speak. And when spoke to them, and sure enough, there were trash cans everywhere. So we had code enforcement go through and just put, this is your warning citation.
pick up trash.
You guys have to be back up off the street within so many hours after trash pickup. I think it's 24 hours. And they can't be visible from the street.
Okay.
So at least for the few weeks after I checked on it, it was all great. Now it might have gone back, but I haven't come back to complain. So I'm hoping it worked.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Unfortunately, you can't be the trash can guy.
I mean, that was 5 years ago, so I'm hoping it worked.
But you know what? But that still doesn't show, like, hey, you took the time and the care of saying, hey, we're gonna make sure this person's taken care of. Let's go take a look. And you got it, and now it's done. And Now they don't. Now they can eat dinner in peace now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And mommy and daddy aren't fighting. That is not my address. Kids got put up. But there are things like that, and those are you usually don't hear back from those folks after it gets resolved. But getting it resolved, you know internally that I did take care of that issue for that person from that day.
And that was their biggest issue they had.
It was. So every time that you get that vocal minority that's just letting you have the 1, 2, 3, you just kind of have to remind yourself to go back and think of, all right, but I did help X and I did help Z and we we did accomplish A, B, and C. It's you have to remind yourself of those things because you could, again, this job is fruitless. It is uncompensated.
I understand that.
It is thankless the majority of the time. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, and you remind yourself to be a servant, at the end of the day, you can lay your head down and be at peace.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Heck yeah. So, now we're going to kind of just change gears just for a second, okay? And I did, a little bit of before this, did a little bit of research. And I know we laughed about this last time, but it almost seems like it was your destiny to be paid for you to jump into Waxahachie politics,
Far from it.
Well, I mean, look at this. You grew up here in Waxahachie. You played sports here, attended high school here. Then you went to college. One of your degrees was your political science degree at Charleston State. You get done doing all that, and all of a sudden now, hey, here I am, Travis Smith, city councilman,
Yeah, that sounds it sounds like it was real easy, and that was the path when you put it that way. But you left out a lot of the there ain't no way that guy's ever gonna be much of anything. Yeah, I played football and basketball and baseball in high school. Was never the star on any of those by any means ever. Was just a good teammate that liked to play my role.
Okay.
Went to college. I mean, mainly just to get out of town, kind of chase a little baseball dream because it was fun. Went to Tarleton first, then transferred to Cedar Valley, played a year there. Went to Wesleyan, played for a year there, and it was when I went to Tarleton, originally I was going to be an ag teacher.
Okay.
Mr. Mike Morgan, Big Mike I had told him that my sophomore year of high school, and he spent the next 3.5 years telling me how stupid that was because you don't get paid anything. It's a thankless job. Everybody's just going to yell at you, blah, 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 blah. Well, look where the hell
Yeah, I was saying, look at you now.
now I'm getting paid absolutely nothing for everybody to do the same thing. So thanks, Mike, for talking me out of it. So I originally went for AS&D option 1, which is ag services and development, and that's your path to be an ag teacher. I switched to AS&D option 2 to do ag communications. Then I left from Cedar Valley, then went to Wesleyan and was pre-law there because they had a pre-law track because they had like the law school. And then that spring they told us, hey, we just sold the law school to Texas A&M and none of y'all are guaranteed admission anymore and you probably won't get in because they need to get all their kids in first. Sick. That's awesome.
Oh, that'll make your stomach drop.
So now I'm playing on a crappy baseball practice field. They're about to tear down the Cats Stadium, so we don't even have a home field.
Oh, man.
We're in a not great neighborhood to begin with. The stinking. I wish I was making this up. The Church's Chicken across the street from campus, right? There was no dine-in option.
Okay.
It's essentially just a square cinder block building, and they would serve you the Church's Chicken and take your money from like a bank, like drop down.
Oh, that's the hood, man. Damn.
Window.
Heck yeah.
That's where the Texas Wesleyan campus is. So it's not great. Wasn't a whole lot of fun. So I went back to Tarleton. Well, that's when I learned that if you transfer from a public university to private, then your credits typically always transfer. When you go from private to public, you're probably going to lose a bunch of them. Well, I lost all of them.
Oh,
But I also didn't have a pre-law track. I think I had to keep one of them. So that was when it was like, all right, speaking with like the counselors, like, all right, so how do I get the hell out of here? Like, what's my path to get me out of here? I'm like, all right, well, your quickest path will be to have, because I kind of already had like a history minor done, but I didn't want to major in that by any means. So it was, all right, so political science with a minor in history. All right, let's do it. Whatever. Maybe I'll go to law school some other time. So 7 years later, I graduate from Tarleton.
yeah.
It took me 7 years from when I graduated high school to get through college. Got suspended for 1 year for not showing up to classes.
Okay.
Like as in went the first day, went on testing days, went the last day, and they decided that, you know what, even though you passed most of these,
Your
we're
attendance
still
sucked.
going to
Yeah.
fail you because you weren't ever here. Okay, cool. So got suspended for a year in that whole 7-year span. So technically I was only in college for 6 years,
Okay.
technically. Worked at a nursing home in that year off, and that was humbling in itself because I worked in the memory care unit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
nursing
for
home.
sure. Yeah.
And I'm a crier because of that experience.
Yeah, that's tough right
It
there.
is. I mean, when you have the assisted side of a home and then the memory care side, and you see folks that come in and the decline starts to happen, you're like, oh crap, here it comes. In a few weeks, you're going to have to move from a 100 room to a 200 room because it's happened.
Yeah.
And the families never want to accept it. I mean, it's hard to accept that.
For,
right?
oh man, yes. Yes,
And then,
absolutely.
And then to see them when their mother, father, grandparent, when they go to the memory care side, and for that next week, the family's there every day. Second week, they're there 5 times a week. Third week, they might be there 3 times, and they start dwindling and how often they come, because now that's not their dad anymore, but that's just a guy that gets up and walks around and doesn't talk.
Right. Man.
They stop coming, and it gets to the point where you can't even get them to bring toiletries, and you're watching these people that can't help it,
Yeah.
and it's just you watch them just lose the light of life, but they're still there, and now the family's not there, and when they are there, they're sobbing, and I'm a crier because of that experience, and that experience is what when I got back into Tarleton, like, all right, I have to get out of here, do something,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
do something that helps people or enacts change, whatever that is. But I've got to do something. I can't just work behind a desk. I have to do something in life that's going to make a difference. Took a blow-off class my second senior year, media writing 201 with Dan Malone, who I didn't know at the time had won a Pulitzer Prize for the Morning News in 1992.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a long story short, our final exam was to write a story, write a biographical biographic type story,
Okay.
of someone who had graduated from Tarleton. So I did mine. Um, I just kind of searched, and I was like, all right, so who was this going to be? I like sports, so my sports background. Deshaun Phillips had graduated from Tarleton the year before and was at training camp with the Dallas Cowboys as an undrafted cornerback. So I reached out to Rich Dalrymple, the longtime PR guy, and just said, hey, how do I talk to this guy? I'm a student. I just want to do the interview.
Yeah. Right.
Not expecting anything to actually happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it's a kid, and I'm sending an email to the PR director of 30 years for the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Like, he's not going to reply back. He replied back in like 15 minutes.
That's cool.
and said, "Are you free at day and time?" So did the Zoom with Deshaun and Coach Jason Garrett, which was didn't expect that. Got my quotes, did my whole story, submitted it, and Dan called me into his office. Again, this is a blow-off class I'm taking because RateMyProfessor.com said this is easy.
This is the guy.
This class is easy. Just show up and show that you kind of tried and you're gonna get an A. Well, Dan called me in. He was like, "Travis, there's no edits to this. Have you written before?" And I'm like, "No, I just like sports." So next thing I know, I'm covering the Toller Rattler football team for the Hood County News, and Dan kind of coordinated that whole thing. And before I know it, I'm then leading the coverage for the trial of Eddie Ray Ralph, who murdered Chris Kyle and Chad Littlefield in cold blood. Calculated, planned. I mean, was sane enough that after he stole Chris's truck and drove back to his house in Ovilla, Red Oak-ish, he stopped at the Taco Bell there on I-35 in Red Oak and ordered 2 bean burritos with extra green sauce. And that's after he shot and killed both of them, execution style, drove back, setting up. Just talk about a crier, and then you put me in that situation to lead the coverage of that.
So you were in the courtroom while this is going on. Oh my gosh!
If I wasn't in the courtroom, and it was a very small courtroom, but Judge Cashin allowed six media. Six media. He allowed 6 media outlets inside, and then the student newspaper from Tarleton. So I was the 7th, sitting next to all of them, taking notes, not knowing what the heck I was doing.
That's intimidating, man.
Oh, it was. I was sitting next to CNN and the AP and you name it, they were there, and the other ones had to sit in the overflow room, which, if anything too gory was brought out to show or put on the screen, they would cut the feed so they could hear the audio, but they couldn't see what was being shown in the courtroom.
Okay.
And I can just say that the state did a very good job of presenting their case. There were demonstrations, and it was intense. The photos of the two were.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Things you don't forget.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, all that happens, and then I'm working at a newspaper in in Brownwood. From Brownwood, I got moved to the paper in Glen Rose to be the managing editor there. It was just me and a front desk clerk. Aileen Franklin, sweet old lady, that I would have not gone to my best friend's wedding in Vegas had she had not come in. She was 80. Had she have not come into my office and said, "Travis, you're going to that wedding." I said, "Aileen, I'm making $30,000 a year. I cannot afford to go to that wedding." She said, "Travis, I've already pulled you. Here is the sheet to fill out to get a credit card. You're going to that wedding. You're going to get this Discover card, because if you don't go, you're going to regret it the rest of your life."
Yeah.
I still have that the same card that I had to open then. It is in my wallet right now.
Oh, that's too cool. Yep.
And that's all because of.
There it is.
That is because of her and saying you're not going to miss life. You can always make more money.
That is cool. That is really cool.
So then from there, again, so this is all just kind of just to get back to Waxahachie. So in 2016, I was hired to be the managing editor at the Waxahachie Daily Light by Mr. Scott Brooks, who loves to go public and
yes,
bash anybody he can when they don't have the same opinion as him. So again, vocal minority. That's how we got back here.
Okay. Yeah. So But so
Not at one time was I the star of anything, of any path, of any calling that would say that, oh, this guy's gonna.
I mean, I don't know here. I mean, just looking at here, you know, you got out you got the Waxahachie golden child here, you know. I mean, you get all this, and then you got all of a sudden now you're on the huge case, you know. The soul
As a 7th-year college student.
as a 7th-year college student.
Okay, I got.
And then, you know, you come back to Waxahachie, and then now you have you own the Ellis County Sports Media.
Yep. Correct. So I started that when I left the newspaper. Um, I just enjoy it. I enjoy celebrating student athletes and coaches and programs because I fully believe that a town in Texas is never as close as they are and never as excited as they are as when they have a high school team that's just badass. If it's football or baseball, I got to experience it from both sides. So on the football side, our senior year, we were 9-1 going into the playoffs. I had won 9 straight games, ranked number like 3 or 4 in the state. We just happened to run into a guy named Robert Griffin III for a second time. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, RG3. He was a
He won a Heisman Trophy or something. First overall pick in the draft. I mean, he was.
Dude's on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had him down by 21, and with 3 minutes and 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter,
He decided to show him play all.
lost by 2. Yeah, it's great. The year before that, they made a 58-yard field goal to beat us.
No kidding.
By 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So-
NFL stuff right there.
Yeah, so like we had that excitement, and I felt the community during that whole run of, and this is kind of cool. Like the whole time, like I mean, like you go out to eat or whatever, and they're like, "Good game on Friday." And then on the baseball side, I mean, we for the first time since 1999, we went to the state tournament. Again, we're winning dang near every game, blowing everybody out. 3 consecutive no hitters. I mean, just the guy. I mean, like the team itself. There were 16 seniors and 15 of us that played together since we were 8.
Oh, that's cool.
Like same team,
Yeah.
same dad's coached. We used to practice in the Martin Glass facility, which is like the Red Barn now.
Yeah, right there by the bridge that was been torn down. Yes.
So they actually made like glass trophies and glass faces and glass
I like
things.
the plaques and everything that you would get. Okay.
Right. But we would practice in there.
That's wild.
So if you were warming up and you made a bad throw, you broke something.
Don't make any bad throws.
Yes. No. So, but again, like just getting that community feeling behind you and that support, it's just special. So I believe that, I mean, it doesn't matter what sport it is, but those kids and those coaches and those parents that are pouring into those kids and the cheerleaders and the band and whoever else is also supporting that game and program, they need to be celebrated because that's the core of our community.
No, well, yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean,
So-
you get a good. There's nothing like. I mean, heck, all the movies they make Friday Night Lights.
Right.
I mean, that's community getting behind each other. You know, even though it's a sports team, it's young kids, but that's community coming together.
I mean, you're completely right. And with the way that the newspapers were going, and not hiring sports reporters or editors, not putting any real investment into that side of it, it's like, all right, so there's a need to keep doing this. Now, how do we do it? So I started it as an LLC. I'm in the process of converting Ellis County Sports Media into a nonprofit. So it would give me more freedom to, when we get community sponsors, which I like to call community champions, to sponsor either an all-star game. We've been doing the Ellis County All-Star baseball and softball games since 2020. We started them because of COVID. So we got to do them in that. I think it was after like July 1st of that year. You were, for whatever reason, the governor finally decided that it was okay for us to be outside together, that's a whole different thing.
That's another podcast episode, brother. Yes.
Thing, but we started at the end, and it's just kind of grown and grown and grown. And I get parents that start to ask me in April, "Hey, when's the game?" So we added softball, we added soccer, we added basketball to the All-Star games. And this year I'm hoping to bring back the high school sports gala that we did in 2019, which is where the Chuck Beatty Courage Award, like that's where those things were given out.
Sure, yeah.
And to bring that back to continue and elevate honoring the students, the coaches, the parents, and the programs. But by going nonprofit, it will open up avenues for me to take the Ellis County sports efforts, one, to be able to duplicate them into other counties, but to open up the avenues for scholarships, one. But what I really want to move it into, and this has come after discussions with Dina Petty from Midlothian, who started Mentors Care. And if you haven't heard her story yet, it's pretty incredible.
Okay.
And her son Bryce Petty played for Baylor. He was a quarterback there. He played for the Jets. He's currently the quarterback coach for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. All right.
Graduated from Midlow in 2009, so the year after me. But we kind of talked about, all right, so we have the Mentors Care, but it's fantastic, but we need something, because again, Bryce went to Baylor during all of the Baylor football things.
Yes, the Baylor football scandal. Yes.
So he was there, and he was the quarterback for all that.
Okay.
And I know so many guys that I played high school with or in college with that were phenomenal athletes that just had no direction. They had no mentor.
Yes.
So the goal for Ellis County sports at this point, go nonprofit and then be able to, I guess it'd be contract would be like the right word to use, with the student athletes from our county who are playing collegiately that have a good head, that have a good direction, to sign them to an NLI deal to be a mentor for an at-risk kid or two here.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So for a kid that we know, man, you got the juice. Like you are special. You're just going the wrong way. Like you need a father figure or a mother figure, and they usually aren't going to listen to anybody that's older, right?
Right.
So to be able to sign a kid that's in college that's doing it. So to take that sponsorship funding from a community business, go through the nonprofit, pay a kid that's from here to mentor a kid from here, it's kind of just reinvesting it all.
Putting it back in your community.
Right.
Yeah. I can't tell you. So I went to high school in Lancaster, and I played football.
Best band in the land.
Man, we were on it, man. That marching band is intense. Don't sleep on them, man.
Yeah, his school song is "Oh Christmas Tree."
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so I went to high school in Lancaster, and I couldn't tell you how much raw talent that we had on that football team.
Seen it, I felt it.
But it was zero mentorship. Like these kids, like I was just a big guy in high school, and I played linebacker, and I literally just ran over anybody that was in front of me. Like that's the only thing I know how to do. But the talent that these kids had, like, man, we had a quarterback that could launch the ball like I've never seen in my life, but there was zero guidance of how to do anything. And unfortunately, all those kids took a bad path. Like I don't even know of anyone that are really still around to be really to say. A handful of them. One of the guys that I still talk to a little bit, but the 30 guys that were on that team, I really don't think there's maybe about 3 or 4 of them still around, which is unfortunate. But this is a team that, like, these guys could have gone pro if they had the right mentorship, like something like you would be implementing. So that'd be, that'd be great, for sure.
Well, that is the ultimate goal, and it would just be it would be just a continuation of a celebration of sport, and that's the way that I try to describe it best, because you got the all-star games that start with like the volleyball match. and it's until you see it and you see the kids from Avalon and from Italy and from Maypearl and from Palmer and from Ferris, and they get to take the court. Most of them play with the girls from Waxahachie and Midlow and from Heritage. They play with them anyways, but to see them all together on a court and they're all wearing their jerseys and you get to see all the different communities there and support, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is neat.
It's really cool. So it's a celebration more than it is a competition, right? But don't get it twisted. The girls take the volleyball game and the softball game extremely serious. The boys not so much on the baseball side, but the girls, softball and volleyball, they take very serious.
I can see that.
They want to win. But I mean, you start with those games, and then you've got your mentors that you get to celebrate their successes, and then they get to celebrate the successes of like the mentees. And then you end all of that with essentially a party in June with a celebrity guest speaker. When we did it in 2019, we had Pudge come talk.
Oh, that's cool.
So he signed all the autographs, took all the pictures. He did like a tour and took the photos with folks at a Methodist Midlothian, which is a title sponsor of ours. So shout out to Casey over there. But we did all of that. It was. I still see coaches in their profile picture from 2019 is them on the red carpet at the event.
Yeah,
with Pudge, and it's like that's how cool that was.
and that's 6 years ago now.
Yeah, so to end all of that with that party and like the celebration, and to name the athletes of the year and the Courage Award winner Swinton Jackson. If you want to really cry, go watch the video of the Chuck Beatty Courage Award presentation to Swinton Jackson in 2019. It's on YouTube.
Tearjerker, huh?
Dude, oh my goodness, this kid. And it's these kind of kids that you get to honor, and it gets me excited when you find kids like Swinton Jackson. And I'll probably cry, but he went to Red Oak, played football, was in foster care his entire life. Well, while he was in a home, he was working at Chick-fil-A in Red Oak, mainly just to be able to buy his brothers and sisters in the home gifts and clothes and school supplies and whatever it was. The home that he was in, and I don't want to put anything out there that's super negative about somebody, but they weren't always doing the right thing with the funds that they were receiving.
Okay.
So Swinton was stepping up as a 16-year-old.
Doing the right thing.
Yeah. And he aged out before the season started his senior year. Well, he turned 18 and told him to leave. You're out.
No
longer live here.
Because they weren't getting any more money from him.
Right.
Oh, that is crap.
Here's a kid that's going to high school, making all A's, on the honor roll, in the National Honor Society, captain of the football team, being recruited by not super big Division I's, but smaller D1s and D2s, and everybody that worked with him at the Chick-fil-A just had nothing but fantastic things to say about him. So he's bouncing around from friend's couch to friend's couch to friend's couch, playing through the football season. He ends up.
I hear you.
He ends up getting a full ride to West Texas.
Okay.
But I mean, he's not even from America.
Oh, really?
He's from the islands.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's here and had every reason put in front of him to give up.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
to not do it. To not push through. But kids like that, that's why I started Ellis County Sports, was to highlight those kinds of kids, those families, those coaches. I mean, it was the coaches. It was Chris Ross that poured into them, and that his staff that kept Swinton on the right track to be a God-fearing young man that could lead.
Yeah, dude,
So
the kid literally had everything thrown against him, really, as to say. But, dude, man. But, hey, he's a tough kid, you know? I mean, that's the whole thing he really said, man. He's a tough young man, you know?
Yep. So that's where my passion is. Yes, I enjoy serving the community. I enjoyed doing restoration projects as a general contractor. I like to restore old homes and old buildings. I like to build out commercial spaces. I have a real estate license that, again, I like to help folks find land to build a home on, or find a home on land, to kind of preserve that land.
Right.
So when they want to go find a home on 7 acres or 10 acres and get the ag exemption, I enjoy that. Because, again, ag background, like, I want to preserve it if I can.
Yeah, you went to school with it, yeah.
I don't so much like the real estate side where I'd sell single family homes in the neighborhood. It's not really a passion of mine. I don't pursue it much at all.
You're right. Understood.
But commercial leases, commercial buys, I do enjoy that. But at the end of the day, it's the celebration of sport. I mean, because that's just
Yeah,
if you want to preserve a community and you want to and you want to have something for the community to rally around, it's the next state championship. Insert sport here.
yeah, I mean, Friday Night Lights. I mean, insert movie there, you know? I mean, that's it, man. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That's the part that the Waxahachie buzz
They don't get.
doesn't ever even ask. I mean,
No.
they just see again, you go back to social media being good and bad, but there's a lot more behind there should be a lot more behind those folks that you elect to a public office than just the public office.
Yes, I agree 100%.
And I can tell you that all 5 members of the current city council, they've got passion projects outside of the public office that are just as, if not more, impactful than what I'm trying to do. I mean, I bet there are many folks that know that Councilman Chris Wright has served as either a president and or some part of the board of the Waxahachie Boys basketball booster club for several years.
Okay.
He doesn't have a kid playing basketball. He doesn't have a kid in school.
Just there to help.
He does it because he knows that there's kids that need that help and that support, and that's where he feels he can do it.
That's awesome.
Trace is the same way. I mean, that dude does more for fish and for game and for our coastline than most people ever will ever know.
Yeah.
But that's what he does. Like, that's his passion. Yeah, he has a seafood restaurant, but he has the restaurant because he's out there trying to catch all the dang fish to tag them or save them or whatever it is.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot more depth, and I wish more people, and I'm thankful for a platform like this that you're giving me a chance to share just a little bit behind the curtain.
Yeah, absolutely. And people need to hear that. People need to know that, hey, there's more to my elected official than just him sitting in the back and drinking whiskey and smoking cigars and how he's going to make the next $1 million to his name, you know, like, because it almost seems, you know, just from what you see on the news and everything, there is a distrust in elected officials. And to know that, hey, man, I am actually, like in your situation, you knocked on doors. You heard people's voice. You heard, hey, I am wanting to work for you. This is what I'm offering. You know, I'm helping kids do this through sports. We're trying to get all the stuff for mentors, for kids that are, you know, that do need it. I mean, that says a lot, you know. That says, hey, I actually have the community at heart, you know, whether any, you know, and I didn't even ask you what political party you're with, because it doesn't even matter. It matters that you're here to help the community, you know, and that thing that speaks volumes more than anything, you know,
Well, I appreciate that. I do. I mean, it's because at the end of the day, that's my heart is in Waxahachie. My heart is in Ellis County. I will help anybody to the best of my abilities get whatever their hopes, dreams, or otherwise accomplished if I can. Especially with a small business. Like, goodness gracious, if you're having an issue of some kind, or if there's anything that I can provide or point to, or a phone number, like, uh, it's being raised in small businesses. Like, that's the other, like, that's the grown up side of your community, right? So, like, you rally around like your next state championship team. Well, you all need to rally around your small businesses, because those are your two heartbeats. If you lose those, you lose all of your character charm. Your
Oh, yeah, for sure. All your small restaurants that we have, it looks
Mhm.
like Atkins, for instance,
well,
all the neat little places that you have to go to, the old lady antique places around,
well,
you know?
I our household is an antiquer. We like the antiques. We're a 111-year-old house. Our 8-year-old loves also going to the antique stores. She'll buy stuff, the one stuff, and we've gotten her now to where at least she knows she's only getting one thing if you're getting anything. But she'll find that one thing real quick, and then usually, I mean, she knows how to sucker me into getting a second or third thing if she needs to.
Starts batting the eyes,
Uh,
understood.
but I I think back to your point of distrust in the distrust in elected officials. I fully believe it comes from the federal and the state level, and the bad rap that they give elected officials, because they use so many of those keyword talking points of,
Promises.
yeah,
I promise to
I
do this.
I promise to cut spending, or look, or el eliminate this or do that. Well, I mean, whatever it is. And then they always go on like the rhetoric of attacking somebody, or on on a party line, and at the end of the day, it's, but what did you get done? Right? Like, what, like,
What did you do?
yeah, like, what can you say at the state or national level that you actually did? Because I guarantee you, they didn't help anybody with their trash cans out front.
No, I don't think I've seen, President Trump, drive through my street and say, "Hey, man, it's time for you to pick up your trash can," you know?
So that's, but you get that at the local level. I mean, that's the local level. Those folks are genuinely serving, because if they're paid, they're not paid much. Waxahachie is currently not paid.
Okay.
And I'll be the first one to say, I wish we were. Just to be completely honest, for the amount of time that we put in, it sure would be nice to have a little something.
Little compensation for all your hours,
Yeah.
countless hours spent every week.
For the amount of time it literally pulls me away from other jobs.
It takes time from your family.
I mean, next week we have a work session at 9 a.m. on a Monday.
That's the middle of working
We're
hour.
our second one this month and our fourth or fifth in the last 6 months.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's those things. So, yes, I do think that your local official should be paid something of living wage. Absolutely not. But something for the time that's put into it. Uh, but it's those folks at the national and the state level that just go off on those tangents, and curse this and they curse that, and they cause divide that folks who really are, back to our beginning of, like, the conversation, the ignorance factor. They're ignorant to what the local officials do. And those local officials have a lot more direct impact than people realize on your pocketbook, because that's homestead exemptions and property taxes and all those things. And they have a heck of a lot of influence on your day-to-day life, like what is actually affecting you that day.
Yes, like, what is in my town? What isn't allowed in my town?
Exactly.
How much is my property taxes going to be? How much X, Y, or Z? That's what's in front of you when you go to, any kind of local store or whatever. Hey, the city council approves that store to exist for the most part, if I'm catching you correctly.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, there's the council that your city council tomorrow could, if they had a meeting called and it's on the agenda, could enact an ordinance that, let's just go just completely outside the box that bans walking on the left side of a sidewalk. They could do it. They could pass an ordinance that says you can only walk on the right side of the sidewalk. Don't cross the middle.
Okay.
I mean, could somebody challenge it in court? Probably, but that ordinance goes into effect that day, and once it's signed by the mayor, better not catch your ass walking on the opposite side of the sidewalk because the ordinance is there.
Oh, wow.
So now that's obviously a far extreme.
Yeah, but as an example.
But that's how much impact a city council or a school board could have on your day-to-day life, is that there are things in all around the city and all around the county that could be addressed or could be unaddressed if those things are brought to light and brought to attention, and there's somebody and somebodies that have a passion behind it to sell why it should or shouldn't be done.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You got to have people who are with what your values are and what you believe the city should be doing or should not be doing. I'm 100% agree with that, because from what I remember, and I could be totally wrong, is whenever I took my government class I think my first one I took it was at Cedar Valley also, was that the city level government is more powerful than the state, and the state's more powerful than the federal. If that's what if that's like how
I wouldn't rate more powerful, because if at the federal level they pass a law that says you can't wear, or if at the federal side they say no more blue pickup trucks, we're done with them. Well, that's going to supersede anything that the state has in place or the city has in place.
Oh, really?
So we could have, there's things in our ordinances, like in our charter and our book of ordinances right now, that are actually on our next agenda to update, because the state passed laws that essentially make what we have in place null and void. So we've got to change some things because they made some changes. So from a governance standpoint, it's still federal, state, local. From an impact standpoint, it's local, state, federal.
Okay, because I'm just going to take this as an example. Don't put any line on this at all. But like, say how you go to certain states and there is actually where marijuana is legal. Okay, so you got you got Oklahoma, you got obviously Colorado and various other states where it is legal. Federal says it's illegal. You're not allowed. Okay, so like in that aspect, would the local government be more powerful than like the state or the city based on how they want to pass their laws, or I guess you could maybe say like their decriminalization?
So the way it kind of works on that side, and for me, I don't care one way or the other about pot. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. I don't care.
Right.
It does. It's no different than alcohol.
Okay.
In my opinion. And I also say that knowing that there is factual information and data that shows that Ellis County, if hemp were to be completely legal to grow and sell, Ellis County would go from being the previous cotton capital of the world to being the hemp capital of the world, because they grow the same way.
Yeah.
So the plants grow in the soil the same way. They have short roots. They grow out, not down. We have our rock base. We have a very thick,
a lot of limestone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and then our soil, right? So it's a very thin plant. It's a very weak stem, like cotton is. So because we have that loamy clay to clay top and subsoil, it gives it that strength it needs to stand up and grow.
Okay.
So we would do very well.
Okay.
Yeah. From mass productions of hemp. So selfishly, on the local side, I'm all for it. But the way it works is that, to your question, a lot of these things like that, like the quote unquote decriminalization. That was tough.
That's a tough word.
Things like that happen when a federal court or a state court hasn't ruled one way or the other.
Okay.
So once one of them does and says, nope, that's illegal, or yep, that's okay, then that's going to trump the trickle down. So once the state Supreme Court says no to this, it's going to fall down to the local side. If the federal Supreme Court says, well, we actually say yes to this, it's going to trickle back down, and then whatever the state said, it's gone.
Okay. Understood.
A lot of times, things like that just haven't reached a Supreme Court and or haven't reached a ruling.
Understood.
To make it hyper-local, short-term rentals, STRs, so Airbnbs and VRBOs, right?
Okay.
I view those as a small business. That is a business. It's not a home anymore. It's not a long-term rental. You are
You're making money.
a miniature hotel, right? So that's a business. The state Supreme Court hasn't even thought about hearing anything on it yet. The federal Supreme Court hasn't even given the thought to hearing anything on STRs.
Okay.
So cities are making ordinances like what we did 2 years ago, to put some parameters in place on, you have to provide this. It can't have more than X amount of rooms, or, just putting things in place that at least give some protection to the neighbors that there's a business on their street, and we've at least put something down to make them to hold them accountable.
Okay.
So same thing as the pot, but this is on the local side. That's a hot topic right now.
Okay. That is purely just use the pot because that is what we see in different areas. Yeah.
So if the state Supreme Court were to rule tomorrow and say, no, STRs can operate by right because it's just a home that's already there and they own it and they own the property, they can do what they want with it, it's still going to be housing, then whatever we put in place is gone.
Okay, but it takes for the Supreme Court to act on it.
Yes.
And if they ever would act on it.
So then the way that works is, say our ordinance is one that somebody decides to really challenge. So it goes, they decide to sue us because they didn't get approved to have an STR. That would go to a district court. It would be challenged till it got to the state Supreme Court, and then they would have to decide. Now they could push that out for years, months, whatever, but once they hear it and they decide on it, whatever they say is church.
Understood. Okay.
And the only thing to do from there is then to challenge it to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Which
I'm getting what you're saying.
Are they going to hear that docket? Probably never.
No, that thing's going to get pushed back until me and you aren't around anymore, brother. Yeah.
So that's a long way to say yes and no on the question of, can we do things locally that supersede? Not once a Supreme Court has said something.
Okay. All right.
There's been no decision, and it's just implied law.
Then if it's just implied that y'all can do whatever as
within reason.
Yes, within reason.
Because you open yourself up to being sued, then you're going to get sued, and
right.
Somebody will escalate that up enough
to where it will be.
Especially when it comes to like a special interest, like pot, right?
Sure.
There are lobbyists out there all over the place that if they got something that they could challenge, they're going to challenge it because they had the money to do it.
Yeah, right.
And they're going to bleed a smaller city dry, because they have more money than us.
For sure.
Like to fight those types of things.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's a long answer to a short question, I guess.
All right. Okay. But I got pretty much just, I kind of have one last question for you. The kind of, it's definitely wrapping things up by any means, but it's kind of a last question. But like, when you're being a city councilman, you got to be so PC all the time, almost everywhere you go, because you got the target on your back.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, yes. And obviously, I view it as that ain't fair because anybody with the keyboard, cell phone, whatever you want to call it, they don't have to be PC. Just like how we were talking about the gentleman with the Waxahachie son, with how he didn't agree with the former city manager Michael Scott, and in my view, it doesn't seem like that's fair because why do you have to be so PC and be like this the Waxahachie golden child, whereas this guy can just be like, I'm just throwing blank accusations at you, and that's it, like that's how does someone handle that,
Poorly most of the time, but you learn from it, right? So, when I first got elected, I took offense to the heart on everything. God forbid you bring my family into it. I was going to get real offended real quick, and I'm just going to lash back out at you and give you the same energy that you gave me.
That's called being a person, Yeah.
So you have to just it's a process, and I struggle with it daily. I know that Mary will see stuff online, and she's actually unfollowed certain pages and followed them back and unfollowed them because she sees things that upset her and doesn't want to see them anymore. And my mom has done like the same thing. But it is a lesson in maturity. It's a lesson in growth. It's a lesson in put your nose in the Bible and go find something, right? Because the word will get you through a lot, and I believe that.
Yeah.
So when these folks are spewing things at you and accusing you of things, um, you kind of have to step back and remind yourself and dig back in your faith and just know that they're casting something because the enemy's working in them on something, and the enemy has come and has them upset with or hating themselves about something that they won't resolve, and they're pushing that energy out.
Okay.
Right? Because he wants to win, right? And by he, I mean the enemy wants to win.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and if you are spiritual, and you do walk that walk daily, you know that in Matthew, right? Matthew 6 is like the perfect example. I think it's Matthew 6, like 30, 32, 34, somewhere in there. But it's about worry, right? And there's enough worry for today to keep you busy. There's no reason to worry about tomorrow when he's already planned that out for you, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So to cast that out and to start to worry or stress about the stressors and the worries of tomorrow, you've now lost yourself in today. And I feel like those people that do lash out, they've lost that. And they're worrying and they're stressing and they're projecting about things that haven't happened, that won't happen, that might happen, but they've lost that guidance that the Lord gives us to live in today, live in the moment. You can't keep casting things out because it's only opening yourself up for the enemy to come inside and shake your house around. And learning that and applying that, and I've really learned that through a small group of businessmen that, I mean, I'm talking like plumbers and lawn care guys, that had a Bible study that turned into the Be Still Men's retreat, which is actually coming up next week. Um, that that's kind of where I have to go back to when those people come on the attack. Is that's not them. That's just the enemy that found a way in.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I know, for instance, Scott Brooks. I know at the end of the day, in his heart of hearts, he does want better for the community.
Right.
He's just not projecting it in the right way. He's thinking ahead, he's projecting ahead, he's worried about what might change or what could change when that's already been planned out, man. I mean,
Yeah.
the big guy upstairs already took care of that. So that's where that fear that I feel like that vocal minority, that's where I feel like that fear really comes from, is that they are stressing and projecting things that might not ever happen. Um,
You can't worry about tomorrow when you got today to worry about for the most part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So in dealing with them, that's what I've learned over my 5 years now is that you really got to step back and just remind yourself that's not that's likely not the true character of that person that's cussing you up one side and down the other.
Sure.
That is a person that's speaking out of fear or speaking out of past experiences or transgressions, whatever it might be. Um, so if you if you do fire back at them, that's only going to confirm their projections and fear. And I still do respond back, and the part that really stinks is when I'm I've worked on myself to this point to where I respond back to try to not put any, like, especially on Facebook. I'll respond back with a comment trying to put no emotion in it, none.
Sure. Like
Just be
we've
just
seen it.
straight factual, just like, "No, that's not correct. Here's the answer."
I'm pretty sure almost anyone who's ever been on the Waxahachie buzz or that has followed the any Waxahachie Sun post has seen that there's not. It's like, hey, no, this. If you have a question, I'm right here.
But that vocal minority will take that as me being an ass because I'm showing no compassion. It's like, well, if I show compassion or if I show if if I show the human side or whatever it is, well, then I'm not being this mold of what a politician is. Like if I have fun with somebody or I make a joke or whatever, well, that's not what a politician is. Well, I never said I was a politician. I'm a servant. Dang it.
Yeah, no, yeah,
I'm a community servant. I'm not a politician. But so they want to put you in this little mold of, well, you've got to act and respond and talk like this.
yeah,
Well, I don't want to give you I, I don't want to deliver the rhetoric that state and federal guys do that pisses everybody off.
yeah, no, for sure.
So I can't show character or show a fun side because then I'm being pompous or I'm whatever it is. All right, so I'm just gonna deliver the fact as basic and bare bone and boring as I can. Like, here is the fact. Well, then you're still an ass
Yeah,
because then you're not doing it. It's like, okay, so there's no right answer.
it's like you provide with the right answer, but it's still a lose lose.
Yeah. So I don't have the correct approach yet. But if you do talk to somebody, if you find it, shoot me a DM and just let me know how to better take care of it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, even the people that yell about school board or think that, oh, God forbid, the people that think that local politicians are getting kickbacks or lining their pockets because we approve a Sam's Club or like an Olive Garden or whatever. I wouldn't know what a kickback looked like.
Understood. Understood.
I mean, at this point, I just want to be offered one so I can know.
Yeah, like, hey,
I'll
this is
I
the kid.
want to experience it one time. So I'm like, oh no, at least I know what it is. 5 years in, I have not had one developer of any kind say, "Hey, if you go for this,
Yeah, hey, but here's a little bit of lane your way, right?
shoot, I had a small tear or something in in my left knee, my meniscus, the last like month and a half. Grass in my yard got about 3 feet high on North Rogers,
Yeah.
where everybody drives down all the time. I didn't have one landscaper that we've ever hired say, "Hey, Trav, if you give us another contract, we'll mow your yard for you." Oh, and I pay somebody $60 to come mow the dang yard.
Exactly.
So no, there are not kickbacks. I don't know what movie that came from, but I have yet to see one. So it's just things like that where it's just it's frustrating because you run for a position and the only promises that you really make are transparency and being present. And then you're asked or tasked to be put into a mold of, well, my politicians have to act like this.
Right.
Well, do you want a politician that acts like that, that's going to give you the rhetoric? Or do you want a community servant that's going to be a member of the community? And
Be real with you.
yeah.
Yeah, because you want to know what's going on.
I still haven't figured it out, man. You tell me. I mean,
Oh, I'm just a guy, with I'm just a guy with a couple of microphones here, man. I don't have the answer for that one, brother. I'm sorry.
well,
But maybe we can, next year we might be able to try it again. you know?
start ending all of your shows and ask them, hey, do you want a politician in a mold or do you just want a guy? It's just, and we'll just keep.
That might be a good catchphrase. I throw that in my outro. Yeah, I could do that. Maybe get like a little things posted up around the place and a little QR code where I can like hit you back and be like, hey, this is what we need our politician to be.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who has been your favorite guest so far?
Oh gosh, this has been a really good one. Not gonna lie. Man, favorite guest so far, man, that is tough. You had definitely shown a lot of knowledge, cleared up a lot of I guess the word you could say is ignorance. That's definitely been a lot of fun for sure. I will say I had Marco, the bartender at Atkins.
That's my vote. Marco he is awesome.
Man, I love the dude.
Have you ever seen him zooming around town on his scooter?
Oh, it's hilarious. And a little Husqvarna on a scooter. Oh, it's great, man. I love it. I keep trying to get him to ride motorcycles with me, and he's like, yeah. No.
Marco's my guy. He's so awesome. Makes the best old fashions in town too.
Do you know, heck, I want to say, so whenever he worked at the El Mexicano, it was during COVID, wife and I, me and her, we were making old fashions at the house because we're like, hey, what are you going to do? It's COVID, we go to work, we come home, sit down, and I remember they opened the bars back up. We went to some Marco's like, can you make an old fashioned? And his eyes lit up. He's like, yes, I can. I'm like, right on, brother, let's get it. And he did it. And he made his own simple syrup. He made, I forget what it was. He made something else as well. And he was so excited to pull like a glass of whiskey or the bottle of whiskey off the shelf that you could tell it had dust on it. Cause you're at a Mexican place. You really don't get,
Right.
whiskey. And I was like, man, it's a good old fashioned, man. Like, yeah, he did. Yeah. Marco was a lot of fun. I do have some pretty cool, ones coming up. I do have I guess the proper term is Vice President of Hewlett Packard Asia.
Okay.
He's going to be on here, kind of talk about the American dream a little bit, I guess you could say. And
tell them if they want to open up anything in Waxahachie, we've got industrial sites ready. We can, we have plenty of spaces already zoned to bring them over here. They can make any kind of microchip or whatever that they need to.
Awesome.
Come manufacture.
There you go. Yeah, because he's actually based out of Singapore right now, and he's going to be on the show here pretty soon. I'm going to have let's see, what's another big one? I'm going to have the guy who's actually for drag racing NHRA Division 4 director. He's going to be here, and got a gentleman from NASA that's going to be on as well. He has a cool alien abduction story that, well, if you work for NASA, you got to be abducted by aliens. So, but I'd say
moon landing, real or fake?
Oh gosh, man. You know what? I follow a little bit too much conspiracy theories, and I believe we will need a whole podcast long on that one, but I'm going to go with fake 100%.
And I think Netflix is starting to get me to turn towards fake.
Before Netflix, okay, we're going to say before, I'm in college and I did this paper. We'll do this. We'll kind of do this a little quick here. Okay, so I'm in college and I do this paper. This is before Netflix. Wikipedia barely came out. I'm doing my own research, and of course, okay, so you're looking at the pictures of the moon landing, the videos of the moon landing. There are two light sources on the moon. You got the Earth and you got the sun. So there can only be two shadows cast on the moon at any time. The moon's in a tidal lock. The moon does not rotate. The side you see facing the moon is the side you will always see facing the moon. It cannot rotate. Tidal lock. How are there four shadows? The only way there's four shadows is if there's light coming from other directions.
My favorite class in college, and again, it was my second senior. I took all my fun stuff my second senior year at at Tarleton, but it was a sociology and psychology of conspiracy theories.
Oh, man.
Actual class.
Oh,
So it was a 2-semester class. So we went through all of these. I mean, we went through, I mean, the Kennedy assassination, the moon landing, reptilian people, went through, I mean, all of it. There was some TV show, I forget what the guy's name is. He's nuts, but where America was gearing up to do mass casualty burials. It was on a TV. He had a show of
okay. I haven't seen that one.
theory type things, but I mean, we went through a bunch of them, and it was cool, but it was a class dedicated to the sociology and psychology of conspiracy.
Oh my God! But
So you really want to get into the weeds? I'll jump right there. I'll jump.
oh man, okay, we got we have to do another one on that one. I would not mind doing another. I wouldn't mind doing an episode for the moon landing. JFK got in college. I had to do a speech class, and it was over. And we almost had to pick a conspiracy theory to go talk, hour and a half over this deal, and I picked the JFK. Of course, before Netflix, before Wikipedia and everything, I had the Oliver Stone movie, and you're watching that. You're kind of doing some research on Google, Yahoo. I think there was even Lycos at the time, the old search engine, and you're just going through it all, and you're like, oh my God, there's so much more going on in this than this Lee Harvey Oswald in the, and you're like, there's no way, and then I went down this super rabbit hole, and I couldn't even, I got ready to do it, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I can't do your conspiracy theory. We're going to start at the intro, and if you want me to do 6 more speeches, we can just do that,
I will end the conspiracy theory before we get too deep into it. The conspiracy theory overhead discussion with my dad was, born and raised in Louisiana, served in the Army, but moved to Dallas when he got out. So he was 23 years old, and he was working for Macy's in the shipping department in the basement of the school book depository.
No way.
On the day that it happened, and they had a radio with an antenna, and they had it taped to the pipe that brought the water in for the water fountain. Because if you had the antenna on the pipe, and it got the signal better to listen to the motor break coverage. But it was in the basement of the school book depository in the Macy's shipping department.
Dude, that is wild. That is wild, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, so we got to do this. Yeah, we'll definitely do
One fail.
Oh, Mike, man, you are speaking my language now, brother.
It was fun.
Heck yeah. Well, man, Travis, thank you very much for doing this, man. Round 2, I guess you could say.
Yep.
So, man, thank you again, man. We'll have to do this again next time, buddy.
All right, sir. Thank you much.
Thank you.